Have you ever played a game in which you think you'll only be playing for a few minutes, but you end up playing for 4 hours or more? That's Team Fortress 2 in a nutshell. There is a Team Fortress 1, believe it or not. Originally, Team Fortress started off as a mod for the original Quake back in 1996. It was developed by John Cook and Robin Walker. Sometime later, Valve saw it and decided to hire the developers to port the original mod to the Half-Life engine. It was released as Team Fortress Classic on April 7, 1999. After numerous delays, Team Fortress 2 was released in October of 2007 as part of the Orange Box for PC, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3. It would get an individual release sometime in 2008. Team Fortress 2 is a class-based multiplayer first-person shooter with a variety of game modes. The classes are categorized into offensive, defensive, and support. In the offensive category, there are 3 classes: the Scout, the Soldier, and the Pyro. The Scout specializes in completing objectives quickly. He can run the fastest as well as being the only class that can double jump. In addition, he can capture points and push the cart at a rate of 2 players. He wields a scattergun, a pistol, and a baseball bat to flank enemies. He has the least amount of health overall, however, making him an easy target to kill. The Soldier can use his rocket launcher to inflict group damage to nearby players as well as rocket jump to great heights and surprise the enemy. Once a rocket from a soldier comes your way, it's very hard to dodge, and even if you do, you'll end up taking damage. Because his rockets are slow to fire, he is susceptible to damage from close range and will occasionally blow himself up. He's also one of the slower classes, making it hard to escape if he ever becomes a target of the other team. As the name suggests, the Pyro specializes in all things fire. He uses his flamethrower to set nearby enemies on fire. When set on fire, enemies suffer from afterburn, which inflicts additional damage and will kill them over time. The Pyro can also use his compression blast to extinguish the flames of teammates, deflect projectiles, and push enemies. The Pyro's weapon specializes in dealing close-range damage, however, leaving the player vulnerable to long-range attacks with no way to defend themselves. In the defensive category, there are 3 classes: the Demoman, the Heavy, and the Engineer. As the name suggests, the Demoman is an expert in all things demolition. He wields a grenade and sticky bomb launcher. The grenade launcher launches the grenade at short range and explodes after a couple of seconds, damaging the enemies that it comes into contact with. In contrast to this, the sticky bomb launcher allows the Demoman to strategically place grenades at certain spots and blow them up on command. In addition, he's also one of the best melee classes. The downside is that not only do the grenades hurt the Demoman, but like the Pyro, his attacks are mostly a short-range affair, making the player vulnerable to long-range attacks. Also, there's a delay when he launches a grenade. The Heavy is heavy. He has the most health, making him the slowest to kill. He wields a powerful minigun capable of mowing down enemies and enemy buildings in seconds. However, he is also the slowest class, making him an easy target for a sniper or a spy. He moves slow to begin with, and revving his minigun makes him go even slower. Nevertheless, he is an essential class. The Engineer specializes in all things mechanical. He can build sentry gun, health dispensers, and teleporters to assist his team. In addition to this, the Engineer can also upgrade all buildings to be even more powerful. He is more of a support class, though when the Engineer needs to fight, he's got a competent arsenal. He can only build one of each item at a time, and he relies on metal to do everything. With no metal, the Engineer can't build or repair buildings. Since the Engineer is always near his contraptions, if they go, he'll most likely go too. Nonetheless, the Engineer is one of the more useful classes in the game. In the support category, there are 3 classes: the Medic, the Sniper, and the Spy. The Medic specializes in all things healing. His weapon of choice is the Medigun, which, in addition to healing nearby teammates, can deploy an Uber charge. When the meter at the bottom right of the screen fills 100%, the Medic can deploy the Uber charge on any teammate. It can have various effects depending on the equipped weapon, the most common being that both the Medic and the teammate become invulnerable for a short period of time. When things get dicey, the Medic can use his syringe gun and bone saw to dispose of enemies. Being more of a support class makes the Medic more vulnerable to attacks. Like most shooters, the Sniper is a long-range specialist. He can use his sniper rifle to instantly kill anyone on the other team with a well-placed headshot. The more charged the sniper rifle becomes, indicated by the landing symbol in the scope, the more damage it does. Being a long-range specialist, he becomes an easy target to kill at close range, though he has a submachine gun and a sword to take care of enemies at this distance. The Spy is a massive infiltration. He can disguise himself as anybody in the opposing team and cloak for a short period of time. He can also use his butterfly knife to backstab unsuspecting players, killing them instantly. In addition, he can place sappers on enemy buildings, which result in him getting destroyed after a short period of time. The negative is that normally all teammates will pass through each other. Enemy spies, however, do not pass through the team that they are infiltrating, making their cover blown. And once their cover is blown, they are virtually defenseless to try to escape. All classes are balanced and each offers their own distinct advantages. Everyone stands a fighting chance. You'll find that as you're playing, you'll be accustomed to one class that you'll want to use as your primary class, but the game does allow for experimentation. At any time in the match you can switch classes on the fly and try out different strategies. As for the game modes themselves, there's your FPS standards like Capture the Flag or Intelligence in this case, and King of the Hill. There are also new modes as well. For instance, in Payload, one team tries to push a cart to the other end of the map while the other team tries to defend that spot at all costs. In Special Delivery, both teams try to bring a briefcase to a rocket lift and must hold that spot while the lift descends. Matches can get intense and frantic very fast. There's nothing quite like trying to capture the last control port or defending an onslaught of players from winning the match. You'll notice that I've omitted the grandfather of all FPS modes, the deathmatch. That's because it isn't included. As the name implies, TF2 is strictly a team objective affair, and all game modes have to do with two teams pitted against each other working towards a common objective. The maps themselves are good. They have variety and are neither too big nor too small, but they allow for enough movement and all sorts of nooks and crannies. It's funny because I've been playing on the same map for years, yet all matches play out differently. I also really like the art style of this game. It's sort of cartoonesque, but it has a lot of flair. It's an art style that is unique to it. There's one topic that I haven't covered yet, and it's a bit of a controversial one. As I said before, TF2 was originally part of the Orange Box and later released on its own. Sometime in 2011, Valve decided to make TF2 a free-to-play game. Being that it became a free-to-play game, there are microtransactions. Specifically, there's an in-game store that sells various crafting items and other oddities that allow a player to make new weapons and the like. Players can also trade items with each other. The good news is that crafting isn't required and the new weapons don't give anyone an advantage per se. I have been playing with the weapons that Valve has given me since day one, and I have no desire to craft anything. The game will never prompt you to buy stuff, and the crafting doesn't affect the gameplay whatsoever. There is a free and a premium account, but there's not really much of a difference, and those who bought the orange box are automatically upgraded to the premium account. And that's about it for TF2. If I had one complaint besides the in-game story, it's the difficulty curve. Even with the addition of bots and tutorial stages, a novice will end up getting killed a lot. If you're looking for multiplayer FPS with a lot of depth, this isn't it. What it lacks in depth, it makes for simplicity. It's easy to start playing within minutes and will keep you coming back for more. If you're looking for a fun FPS that doesn't take itself too seriously, look no further than TF2.
Mission begins in 30 seconds.